guys, welcome back to the channel. We are going to be doing explosives and flamethrowers tier list as well. Cast similar to the classes or proficiencies, whereas I literally can't think of the word right now. um, Similar to that cat type. So because recently I have completed my explosives mastery, I thought, you know what, I might be in the best area to put these into terms of what's what here. Now, right off the bat, what you might see right now on your screen is there is actually more tiers on this list. The reason for this is I'm thinking we can make things up a bit more differently. So, Super Star tier, the very first one there, we can use it as only one weapon the tag collection can go in here, but I won't say it until the very end, and it more likely be one of the S tier weapons in this. I know that this proficiency is divided into two bits, both the explosive end of things, which you can see on the bottom right with the M79 there, and the flamethrowers end of things. So we're going to have at least two S-class weapons, and we'll go from there, of course. So the very first one we've got here is the M79. So the M79 is your basic starting weapon for grenades. It does a fair bit of damage, it is slow, it's very mediocre, but from the get-go you can basically equip it at level with 10 explosives to master it, so you're basically kind of offsetting the entire part there. It uses grenades, it's okay, I wouldn't say it's the best, but it does deserve a D tier. It's not exactly F, it's not the worst. I don't think any of these can actually be put in F tier, in honesty, but we will obviously see that go through this. But this belongs in D tier, I think. Mm. It does it now. I'm trying to think of it, because in fact, no. So we're getting this on the right basis. This is still okay, but it is the worst one on this entire list. The HQ 69, one of my more favourite kind of ones to use. It does pack a good punch, it does have a lot better damage. For that, I am going to probably still put in F tier. Now, you're still getting used to the kind of how to use a weapon explosives basically, but this is still not the best in the series. It's better than you're starting, but I wouldn't say it's anything better than that. Like I said, it does more damage. It does shoot a bit more quicker, I'm pretty sure. In fact, no, it shoots less, yeah, more quicker. It's just a small upgrade. There wouldn't be much more to it. The RGM 40. Now this is another one. Most people will bypass. It's not as much of an improvement at all from a HK 69. So I am going to pop it straight in F. It's just kind of similar for it, in honesty. Yeah, probably wouldn't recommend picking this up either. I would just bypass it like you would normally. The next one I've got here is the GM64. This is one of my more personal favourites, so I'm actually going to shove this in D tier. The reason for it is because it holds 3 rounds per mag, I'm guessing, or cylinder, what I don't know what you call it. And it actually does pack a little bit of a punch compared to other ones in this. It is fairly decent to use in starting areas and such. You'll do, I can't remember how much damage it is because the damage on the screen does not reflect what is actually being done. This all needs updated, mind you. I would probably say that it is fairly good to pick up when you have that ability to do so. It's still affected by the same kind of stats of reloads, accuracy. You don't need to worry about critical either, so you're kind of covered in that sense. The next one is a makeshift launcher. Now, this, from a hardcore perspective, does save a bit of a run. I wouldn't say it's the best either. It's got a little bit more less damage, I think, sure. It's got more damage than the GM. It's got more, with the exact same damage per second, so your GM's kind of more on point. But with a hardcore count, I actually think this is somewhat viable. Um, that's fast reload speed compared to the other ones. Is the only one that has it is the HK69, and that is kind of decent for what it is. It does help a lot, and people won't agree with this, but because it's my own personal opinion, I'm looking for it right now. I don't seem to find it. It is there. I am going to put it in C tier, just purely because of how much of availability it has, how good it can be. I think this would be quite go a long way, especially on hardcore counts as well. It's one of those kind of niche ones you need to be sure you're going into first before you proceed. And I think it definitely does fill that for the most part. The next one here is the China Lake. Now, what I should have probably said before all this started, some of these weapons you would never use, you bypass most of them, and I can only base it on gameplay I've seen. This is one of those weapons, unfortunately, and I think this is actually meant to be a semi-decent one as well. You've got your 4 round per mag, you've got slow reload speed, but you've got 50 skills to master kind of thing. It is very similar to the GM94. I would need to say that it would actually probably come under D tier as well, based on that idea of like it's just an extra mag. It's different when you go from 1 grenade to 3, but I think this guy does kind of have a bit of an after effect. The next one is the RG6. Now, this one's going to be a bit more of an interesting one because it's shown obviously you do have 6 rounds in the mag. I say mag per mag, but you know what I mean. It's not the correct terminology. Don't voice critical me on this one, please. Um, it does have slow attack speed, but you're still getting more versatility usage out of it, in my opinion, because having more ammo in the one cam, mag, shell, whatever it is it's called, it is actually a lot more beneficial than having to singularly reload over and over and over. So I think for this one, damage on it is kind of on par with the makeshift, but with just extra bit of damage at a grenade. Sorry, I'm going to put it in C tier. I was thinking B, but I thought no, it's not yet. Let's not do it yet. So the next one we have is the Falcon MM1. Now this is quite a decent one to kind of talk about. So it has slow reload, slow attack speed, and average accuracy, but you get 12 rounds, so it's double the RG6. The damage is a little bit better, and the fact that you do have a chance to get a grafted version there is quite substantial. Now, bear that in mind, putting that to the side, this one also is quite versatile where you can make a event specific grenade launcher out of this. And with it taking grenades, it's one of the more common ones from the start go. I would actually happily put this one B tier. Just with that fact in mind, it does work well. The base version of it is very sturdy for what it is, and even the scrap value is it's not amazing, but it's okay. Something I would normally bypass myself, I'll be honest, but I'll take it as is. The next one is a Type 87. This is another one I've not really used, however, as you can see, it's actually got a little bit more better stats there, especially for slow attack. So if we're basing that on other weapons in this list, this kinda does have a bit more improvement. The only issue is that damage has a little bit of a drop off in this instance. The stats being quite similar to, say for example, other weapons on this list, I would say it still falls in B tier for what it's worth. It's not any better than, say for example, the Falcon. Let's go use this. It's kind of on par with the Falcon because of the attack speed. As you can see, most of these, looking backwards, is very slow, very slow, very slow, very slow. So it's not exactly the best ones to kind of go for at this stage. And the same can be said for this very next one. It has a little bit more damage, but it is still slow. the MGL6, again, this is going to fall in B tier as well because you're not specifically going to use it. It's not that great aspect for it, in my opinion. The next one's the XM25. Now, I am going to get scolded if I don't do this correctly, but I believe the XM25 is actually semi-decent. Now, back in 2D, you used to be able to use this as a heat shield. Basically, you just sit in the corner, let all the flaming long arms, all the long arms come after you. Red, red long arms, I think they're called. Behemoths, green long arms, and all that come after you. And you would just sit in the corner and you just spam this button. And Flash, obviously, it would just create a big, massive heat shield. They couldn't get to you, they were damaged, and they couldn't. They staggered basically in a sense. In 3D, you can't exactly do this these days, but it is still quite a solid choice, especially at level 100 explosives. It's slow, it's just starting to pick up the pace, and the damage is kind of decent for what it is. I'm going to pop this one at A tier, just purely because obviously it's got quite a good versatility and usability there. The next one's the PAW 20. Now this one, I have had quite a lot of usage out of this. It is decent. It is a bit weaker than the XM20, but the attack speed is massive as well. So for this one, I think it is on par with A. I wouldn't say it's spectacular or super spectacular kind of thing. I would say it sticks at A. It is a pretty solid utility usage, but I think there is obviously better ones out there that people could be using as well. The next one I've got here is Emulator AD. Now this one is quite a interesting one, and this is where I need to come to a point and pivot into something I need to kind of highlight here. So some weapons in this game have a alternative form, and this is one of them, unfortunately. So I would say this one could be A tier, but if I change my mind with the other one, it could be swap it around to put this one, make say B tier and or one A tier kind of thing, because the weapons are pretty much the same, but just have quite a bit of difference. So for this one, the Emulator AD, I believe is actually quite a really good one anyway. Being that I've just given these rules, I've just realised something that I'm going to find interesting for this. So, does 75 damage, uses heavy grenades, and is got slow reload and slow attack speed. Bear in mind, this damage isn't reflective of the system it has in place. I don't think any of these values have actually been updated, but I feel as if this could be quite a very good one. And one you can see here is Iron Man recipe here. That is quite a substantial thing for hardcore Iron Man accounts. So for that, I am actually thinking it will go into 80 to be honest. Like, it is a solid weapon to use. It is very, very good. And I think obviously with how it can be, it's one of those ones that can be very versatile for what you need to do. Don't get me wrong, the attack speed's going to be slow. You can just kind of walk around it. It's not as if it's a massive thing, but you've got 10 rounds per capacity for it, so you're fine. The next one is another one I've not exactly used, but as I said literally seconds ago, this has a bit more of a versatility. Now, this one's going to be a bit more interesting as well. So this one, Dreadnought AD, is basically a version of the from the creator of Ghostfight blah. So this is basically the emulator's kind of big brother, basically in a sense. So it has pretty much the same kind of stats. The only thing is it's more better damage. I'm pretty sure it's fast at shoot. And one thing that's actually noticeable that's very massive, 100% chance to stun. Now that's a pretty big one. I would like to think this is quite useful in horde situations, and if you have like obviously the dexterity build, you're pretty much fine for it as well. So for that, I think this is a S tier off the bat for what it is, and yeah, it's quite good, I think. Next one, now this one, people may not agree with me with this one, but I think this one, the Junker 6, is probably one of the best free-to-play weapons in the game. Now, with this, it does have a whole 24 reload capacity, fast reload speed, slow attack speed, average accuracy, which is understandable. It doesn't do as much damage as the emulator Dreadnought. However, the fact you've got now a fast reloading kind of grenade launcher, that is good. And considering obviously this is one of my weapons I went to for my player guide, new player guide, it's one thing I would actually say is one of the better grenade launchers in the game. Even though it's got a 50% chance to stun, it still takes out quite a lot of the crowd. So that's why I'm putting that S tier. And you're probably noticing now, well, you've got two at S tier. Why? Well, that's a caveat to all this, I'm afraid. The very next thing is the XM79. Now, this one is quite an interesting one because it's I'm awarding this, so technically it should be in its own separate category in this, but we were still going to include it anyway. So XM79 is a craftable weapon. You can loot it in the city in either Death Row or Raven Ridge, as you can see there on the right, and gold really, but yeah, this thing is pretty damn good for what it is. 105 damage, so obviously that's actually increased, and you have a 75% chance to stun, and you got quite a good bit of mag there. The other thing about this is that you can actually craft this to use either normal grenades or heavy grenades, so it's got a very good bit of versatility, and is one of the better ones for any kind of newcomer to use. I would recommend to get. So for that, it is also S tier for what it is. The next one is the Scorcher NK19. Now this one it used to be a Death Row lootable only. However, the attack speed in this thing is so crazy that it is very good. So it's got about 40 damage, so that's obviously increased. It's got a 20% chance to stun, but that makes up the fact how fast it shoots. 50 mag hit grenade launcher round grenades per round, and it being kind of one of those ones you can craft, but you can also loot it kind of thing. I need to put it also at S tier for how it is. Where is it? It's so good. I would highly recommend if anyone can get one, use it. And so this one we've got here is one of my more favourite ones here. So we've got the Valkyrie MGL, heavy grenades, 20 fast reload speed and slow attack speed. It's got a cluster CAD, its own, sorry, I'm jumping the gun here, it's got its own cluster damage and such. For me, this is automatic S tier. This is what I use to grind my majority of my explosives. Paired with dexterity, you can make this with 3D heat shield, and you would be untouched. And with the bounce off walls, it just makes it a complete gimmick gun to use in the city. For that, like I would automatically throw us at Super SS tier. To be honest, that's how I would feel about it. But just in the fairness of things, I am going to put it at S tier as well. What you'll be finding is a lot of game weapons are actually S tier, so it's going to be fun games. The next one here I've got here is the Corpse Eruptor. Now we're going into the limited edition credit shop only ones. Now bear in mind some of these I don't believe I have ever tried, and this is one of them unfortunately. So this one is quite a kind of standard, it would kind of fall into B tier, but I think with the reload speed there, because it's super fast, I think it's the only one in this entire game has super fast. It could be amazing to use. The only other thing as well is the look of this in game. This could potentially sway some people to say this is actually better than where I'm going to be placing it. But yeah, it is a solid limited edition, and one of the best limited editions actually ever included in the game. Clayton, if you are watching this, I'm sorry, but with the current designs we've had for the last 5-6 years have been shit. We need to return to corpse stuff. So for that, I am probably going to put it in A tier because of how good it is. Other stuff that's normal will outmaneuver it basically. Okay, the next one is a bishop c at e9. Again, this was a limited edition one. Didn't use this one either. Too costly. Wasn't around at the time as well. Uh, from what I've seen from it, it just acts like a typical car. Grenade launcher, it falls in A tier as well. I wouldn't say there's much more to it. It does more damage than most, but I think that car is understandable. So the only other thing to note for is very fast reload speed. So that's why I'm going to shove it in A tier. The next one we have is a Boomer PX. So a lot of people use this back in the day because of how much damage it does. It apparently was one of the most sought after and very useful grenade launchers in the game. People did very much feel as if it was like a horde controller. For me, I wasn't particularly fast when I watched a bit of gameplay of it as well. You don't really, to be completely transparent as well, you don't really get any gameplay of these weapons, majority of these weapons after the grenade launcher update. So that might be something that would be interesting for niche. But for that, because it is a massive increase in damage, I'm just gonna pop it at A tier as well. In fact, yeah. So next one is one of my favourite ones actually. It's a cryo launcher. So this one, pretty much similar to the boomer. But it has fast reload speed, but very slow attack speed, and it has a freezing chance or slow chance. Now, for an early, that is pretty damn good. And honestly, I think it's quite versatile for what it is, and it does pack a lot of damage, considering how much it can do. So for me, I actually think this is an underdog. And people might not agree with me here, so I'm going to put a cryo launcher in S tier. I believe it's a complete underdog for what it is, and people don't appreciate it in the market yet. The next one we got here is the short fuse crossbow. Now, if anyone remembers this video from the videos that I've made for this review and such, you would know that I do have quite a disagreement with how this gun was introduced. The idea was potentially that it was meant to be a grinding weapon, but it turned out to be far too slow to use. And then you can pivot to it being a little weapon, but when you realise it's explosive, you can actually balance the hordes aggro counter with it, so it's not really good for silent. The thing about this one is it is actually very good for general gameplay. Yes, you can boss hunt with it. Yes, you can kill a horde with it. You can technically manage quite a lot of stuff with it. And if you get an event with 40% dexterity speed on top of your existing boosts, this is the most broken weapon in the game on those standards. So that's why I'm putting it in S tier as well. Now, the next series we're going to be dealing with is the Dawn Dusk set. So we're pretty much going to be ramping this up to a certain point, and I am going to just discuss quickly. So each of these can have the same, if not similar, buffs. So for example, the Dusk launcher, 9% stun chance plus a 25% stun bosses, which is quite interesting. Grenades, I am going to just pop it in maybe, I'll pop it in A tier. I'll need to. Dusk launcher, it's going to be S tier because of how it is. It's just a bit decent. And the same for the Dawn launcher. I am going to pop in S tier. The thing is, like with the Dawn launcher, I'm not particularly happy with how this has been treated. I believe it should have been accessible from level at like a very low level in that sense. If you get the experimental parts, you can get it, but you need to be level 400 to win it or to get access to create it, which is a bit skeptical for me. I would never do that because there's other things in there in this game that's a lot better. Yeah, we've also got some event stuff here, which is the ones I want to talk about as well. So my Survivors GM94, you can only use it at level 20. It's kind of average GM. So I'm actually going to shove that in D tier as well, just purely because you need to be level 20 to equip it. Uh, Exploder M1 is good. It's very fast and it is fun to play with. Damage is at 15, so it's kind of less. So I'm going to shove that in C tier. And this one for the Exploder as well, the X Exploder. KSM is going to go here. So, with that being said, I know we have just completed the explosive side of things. We've got a handful left, but I feel as if I need to kind of fix my S tier here in a sense. So, out of the X Dusk and Dawn launcher takes SS tier automatically because of its damage, its look as well, I guess, and the other kind of aspects of it. It's just a lot better than X Dusk. But limited edition, obviously you've got Cryo and Short Fuse. Now, Cryo gives you a better kind of effect, I think. Short Fuse can be broken. It's only depending on your dexterity kind of thing. So, Cryo Launcher for me wins on the average. People wouldn't agree with that. People love a Short Fuse crossbow, and I completely understand it. But I'm thinking from a gameplay perspective, you get more versatility out of the Cryo Launcher than you do out of the Short Fuse. Because Short Fuse, in fact, you do kind of need dexterity for both, but the slowdown kind of thing does help a lot than the player. Um, you've got a few here that I'm going to these three here. So M, XM79, Scorcher, and Valk. Valk wins automatically as a crafting weapon. Obviously, you can loot these, but because you craft those two as well, I would say the Valkyrie automatically wins with how the gimmick works, and it works a lot better than those two. The other one is the Dreadnought with free to play look specific one where you can't. Um, I'm going to say Junker every day. Junker is a lot better versatility wise. Fast reload speed means you don't need to kind of swerve into anything too specific for reload. You have that versatility of still doing a lot of damage, still got a decent stun. Obviously, you could get 100 stun, 100% stun with the Dreadnought, but the Dreadnought's a bit more difficult to get. So the Junker is the better point on this. The next thing we're going to look on to is the Flamethrowers, and there's not much on the list, unfortunately, but we'll deal with it. So, finish your Flamethrower, that's kind of a box standard one. You'll get to use that from the get-go. You can have crafting recipes from the earliest point, but you need to be level 10 to equip it, or have level 50 explosives. I'm going to put this in D tier. It's not particularly the best, it's not particularly the worst, but I would say it's one of those ones at the start you can make a decent amount with it. There's even a warning here regarding it being an oversized squirt gun. The next one is the Incinerator. So the Incinerator is one of those weapons that got added quite late on. Just to kind of fill in a void for flamethrowers. I've used it, it's okay, not my particularly favourite one out of the batch. It's got a little bit more versatility than the makeshift, but it's also not got the best kind of range either. For that, I'm thinking maybe C tier. Now we move on to Dragon's Maw. Dragon's Maw is quite a good one to have around, in honesty. It's one of those ones you can loot and you can obviously craft. It's got decent damage, I guess, for what it is, and it's got quite a long reach as well, similar to the one of the other ones in this list. I wouldn't say it's particularly as good. Just seen that right there. So never mind. It is actually really good for what it is, if that's the case, because that means you can take it down to Wasteland and actually use it. I was going to say, because of his resistances in the game now, it's flamethrowers and that aren't really as good, but does take cake, so I'm going to actually shove this up potential S tier. Moving on to the limited editions, we've got the Fatman Cryflower. This one is a superb one to pick up. Now, don't get me wrong, it's got a very sweet damage threshold there, but with the fact, obviously, you can slow zombies down by 50% for 5 seconds, and you can have that basically continuing renewing itself every second kind of thing, that would make us a massive kind of buff to grab. For that, I'm putting this in the S tier, but am I? I'm not putting it S tier actually, no. The reason why I'm not putting this at S tier is just look at this. Since the proficiency update in regards to different tier, I don't believe a lot of these weapons are as good as used to be. Ones that don't require proficiencies, you need to be a higher level just to use, which is quite crap if you think about it. It actually takes a lot out of the game, in my opinion. The next one we got here is the TN8 Flamethrower. Now this one I didn't have a chance to use. I've actually got one of these, but I've never used it. But it's quite similar to your other flamethrowers. I wouldn't say it's particularly the best, so I'm going to just shove it. I think it's actually one of the worst ones for LEs already in B tier. It was very much sought after and it was used quite a lot, but the market's so saturated with it, it's not even that nice to deal with. And your final one here is a Sand Scorcher, so which obviously we need to put that in S tier. This is the one you would use to grind, and as a flamethrower, it is very good. The only thing, obviously, is a drawback is the range on it. It's not particularly amazing. As you can see here, there's a word in here. I don't know if you won't be able to see it, but basically has lower knockback and range compared to other flamethrowers. So it kind of don't know if these have it, but for example, the Flatman Cryo could have kept hordes back in death row. Um, yeah, the Sand Scorcher isn't as good now because of the resistances, but it's still got a good viable usage out of it. But that being said, we now need to kind of fix our sheet here. I think for this one, I'm going to just have one, and I think it's obviously between the Dragon's Maw and the Sand Scorcher, and I think the Dragon's Maw is going to need to take it. So, let me explain. Even though the Dragon Maw is one of those ones that's a lot easier to obtain than the Sand Scorcher, it has range, it has the penetration resistances, it's got less damage, and it can hit more enemies, whereas Sand Scorcher can only hit 4. It's limited with its knockback. The only difference is the damage per second, I'm pretty sure it said. 120. Yeah, it can hit faster, I think, but that's the only thing that's different, I think. So at the end of the day, the Dragon Maw would just come out on top. Yeah, wrong thing. Hold on. So I'll show you this. This is the final one here. So in F tier we have the M79, HK69 and the RGM40. In D tier the GM94, China Lake, the Survivor's GM, Makeshift Launcher, a Flamethrower. In C tier we got the Makeshift Launcher, RG6, Exploder MM1, Exploder MM1 and the Incinerator in C tier. B tier we got the Falcon MM1, Type 87, MGL6 and the TN8 Flamethrower. In tier A, we have the XN25, the PAW 20, the Emulator AD, Corpse Disruptor, Bishop CE9, Boomer PX, Fatman Cryflower, the Dust Launcher. In S tier, we have a Dreadnought AD, XM79, Scorcher NK19, the Short Fuse Crossbow, the X Dusk Launcher, and the Sand Scorcher. And SS tier, we have Dawn Launcher, Cryo Launcher, Valkyrie, Drunker, and the Dragon's Maw. But yeah, this is going to be my final kind of verdict. If you want to have a look at this on your own time, there's going to be a link to this specific one in the description. But I want everyone to remember this is my own personal opinion, but based on either using them or doing some research into what you were like in either in the past or current present, because there's limitations to what's actually available at this time. Um, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. We're going to do this for every single one mastery I complete, and yeah, it's gonna be fun and games. Bye for now, guys.